extra high definition camera because Sats can somehow read that.
The vast majority of the comments on this video are blaming the camera car for the collision. Is that where liability rests? No, absolutely not. But before we start addressing those comments, make sure to hit follow over there, as 99% of regular viewers don't follow the page. So let's get liability out of the way first. The camera car is not responsible in any way, shape or form for the collision. They're proceeding on a roundabout that would normally be traffic light controlled, but the lights have been removed due to works. When lights are off on a roundabout, whether it be temporary due to a power cut or if they're being replaced, naturally basic common roundabout rules return. So essentially it's give way to the right. The blue car moves off into the path of the camera vehicle when they should have given way. The blue car is 100% responsible for the collision. For this video, I'm going to respond directly to the silliest comments that were on this post. And through responding to those comments, you should be able to see how liability is determined in this case. Most of the comments obviously do come from the lack of understanding of dash cams, i.e. they make things look faster than they are and make things look further away than they are, due to dash cams having a super wide field of view. Or they're watching with hindsight and the belief that they've the reactions of Lewis Hamilton and that every car is fitted with Formula 1 road brakes. But they actually have no clue about the time it takes to respond to sudden events, and if they were driving the camera car, they too would have collided with the blue car. So on to the silly comments. The first one is, the road markings have a left arrow, they're supposed to be going left where the blue car exited from. What in the Stevie Wonder is this comment? It's a major A road junction roundabout. If they turn left where the blue car is exiting, they'll be going the wrong way down a dual carriageway exit slip road. The arrow is for the exit off the roundabout that they're planning to take, which is after the dual carriageway exit slip road that the blue car is on. Zero hazard perception. They had 3 days to react to that. I could have easily avoided this collision. Simply not true. From the moment that the blue car moves off to impact is 2 seconds flat. Average human reaction time when driving is just under a second. And by reaction time, we mean the time that it takes to acknowledge an event. The average perception response time is usually between 1 and 1.5 seconds. Perception response time is the time that it takes to initiate the brakes from the first moment a driver acknowledges an event. So that's 1 second to react and 1 second to initiate brakes, and then the time that it takes to stop the car. Is all of that possible in 2 seconds flat? No. Now, I just know that a ton of papier-mâché F1 drivers are angrily thumbing their keyboard right now, stating that they could have acknowledged it sooner and stopped, whilst forgetting that they've watched this video with hindsight. When you're driving, you're taught to have your eyes everywhere, in front and behind. I remember my driving instructor always telling me off for not moving my head physically when regularly checking the rear view mirror so that the examiner would know that I am checking it. What if that blue car pulls off the second that you've diverted your eyes momentarily to the rear view mirror? That's it. That's why reacting isn't instantaneous, and why collision investigators use an overall reaction and perception response time of around 2.5 seconds. Now, if you're about to come at me with average human reaction times being far less than a second, I'm going to remind you that those studies are nothing to do with driving and are to do with humans reacting to stimuli that they're expecting, and not a completely unforeseen event under driving conditions. And if you want to continue to argue this point, you'll need to read up on driving perception response times. There's plenty of papers and studies by experts in this field online to prove you wrong. And again, this is why collision investigators usually expect an overall reaction and perception response time whilst driving of around 2.5 seconds. They sounded the horn quicker than the brakes. The horn is of no use in a collision. Well, of course they sounded the horn quicker than they applied the brake. For the vast majority of vehicles, your hand is already on the horn or right next to it. Because of the closer proximity, the horn is probably going to sound quicker than the brakes. Use of the horn is also a good thing because its very purpose is to alert other road users to your presence. That could alert them to you and allow them to initiate avoiding action, which could result in something being a near miss instead of a collision. They should have swerved to the other lane instead of staying in the lane that they were in. Ultimately, this could have been linked to stupid comment number 1. To check the lanes to the right are clear and then swerve will take up more of your reaction time. And unless you've got a camera angle that we don't have, we don't know if it was clear to move into the other lanes. They were driving too fast on the roundabout. This is the kind of comment that is reaching so far into outer space just to blame the camera car, and again is completely untrue. They were doing just over 30 on a major A-road junction roundabout. The speed limit in force is still 70 miles per hour from coming off the A-road. They're also not gaining on the cars in front. They're maintaining pace to the cars ahead of them. Their speed is completely normal. Wind your neck in. Ultimately, I know people with common sense wouldn't have made any of the comments that I've just addressed, and those without common sense are a tiny minority that just shout louder than the most, and they make up the most of the comment sections of dashcam clips. There are a lot of dashcam clips where the dashcam driver is responsible for the collision or accelerated into an obvious hazard. This, however, is not one of them. Lovely jubbly, sound as a pound.